USA Basketball announced their roster for this year's national team. And it was my first thought was, why didn't Jalen Brunson make the team? And then you start to look at it, you're like, dude, Kyrie Irving didn't make the team. Now, Kyrie obviously has had some injuries. He's had some career setbacks. There's obviously the flat earther, not loved by coaches, teammates, going back to his days in Boston and in Brooklyn. He had the anti-Semitism thing as well. He lost his Nike deal. Like, this dude has, and again, most of these wounds are self-inflicted, but there are wounds there. And he has very quietly had not a good, but a great season with the Mavericks. But a great season. A great season with the Mavericks. He's learned to coexist with Luka. There's been zero talk of people not getting along or him wanting the ball more or whatever. They found a way to coexist. And yet, it just feels like he's an afterthought. Let me ask you guys this. Byron, you probably know it, and I was stunned when I saw it. What type of statistical year did he have? Any idea how many points, how many assists, how he played?
I would guess 25, 7 and 4.
Okay, 25 and a half, 5 and 5. Now, the 5.5 assists, you're sitting there going like, hey, hold on. But wait, like Luka averages 9. Like, that's an unbelievable combo of scoring guards. And the bigger point is they're 50 and 32. They've won games. Shot 41 from 3, 50 or 49.7 from the field, 90 from line. So basically a 50, 40, 90 year. And they've won. And we're just like Tyrese Halliburton, really? Here's Kyrie Irving on his thoughts on being left off the team.
I wish my brothers well, and I just didn't fit into this team, and I think the deliberation process was a tough one. But again, I have nothing but respect for those guys over at USAB. At this point in my career, I think my focus should be on winning the championship and, in the summertime, just going to support those guys when I get a chance. I grew up in a time, too, I wanted to say this, I grew up in a time, too, where we actually had to try out for USAB, and we did meet up as a group and as peers, and there was a mutual respect that we earned from one another and trying out and then seeing what 5 meshed well. So I think obviously the timing's a little bit different, but yeah, I kind of miss those days of just being able to get everybody together, break bread, and then compete against one another, and then the deliberation process happens at the end of like the 4 days or 5 day process, even though people know who's going to be on the team, you know what I'm saying? So I miss that fun part of it, of just getting together, but I wish my brothers well.
I loved his response there. I mean, because it's a no-win for him. I mean, if he really says what he wants, he's just like, man, this is some bull, you know what. I've done all these things for USA Basketball in the past. I've given up my summers in the past. I had a great year. And now all of a sudden you're like, I can't fit in on this. When he said he can't fit in this team, I don't fit in this team. I think the translation is everybody knows what he's saying. And what he's saying is it's all the other stuff that people think will be a distraction, will be a bad representation of USA Basketball. And what he wishes is, I just wish I had a shot to show everybody how well I'm playing, how good my body feels, and how much my game does mesh with people. I can't believe they left him and Jalen Brunson off the team for Tyrese Halliburton. I like Tyrese Halliburton. He's a good player. I do not view him on any level. And that's one of those you're trying so hard to find a fit. Hey, we need shooting. When, like, both these guys shot 40% from 3, I don't understand.
How much of it is a mix of, because, Drew Holiday's there for a reason. Mm-hmm. He's a veteran, but he's there to play defense and do what Drew Holiday does. How much of it is a mix of scoring, defense, veteran, let's get some young guys, yes. So you transition. So in the end, all of a sudden, you're almost just picking like 2 of 3, where it's like, okay, Steph and LeBron, the old heads, and let's get the defensive guys. All right, Drew Holiday, you're in. How about pure scoring, Devin Booker, okay, like that sort of thing. How much is that? Because
I think that's almost everything. Okay? Almost everything. I think here's probably what doesn't feel good for Kyrie. Right? That Steph, KD, and LeBron have They had to be invited. They had to be asked out of the team.
Mm-hmm.
What's the? There's a term for it, right? Like they
grandfathered.
Yeah, they're grandfathered. Thank you, Dan. They're grandfathered in, and I think Kyrie's like, okay, so I'm not grandfathered in, and I don't get to try out. I don't get to play against these guys. Like, what are we doing? I think that's probably what bothers him. And look, Drew Holiday, a lot of it has been, his reputation has been earned because he's a two-way player. Earned. But he has a championship, and so does Kyrie Irving. Right? The Tyrese Halliburton thing, it feels like they just wanted shooting. And also, here's another factor you have to put in your mind when you put together a team. I have to find 3 or 4 guys that are going to be okay if they don't take off their sweats in a game.
Agreed, 100%.
That's a hard, and to anybody's like, nah, come on, man. Like, they're grown-ups. Like, really? I thought, we haven't even mentioned Damian Lillard, and Damian Lillard was bad last time they played in the Olympics. He was not nearly to his reputation. He looked small. He struggled defensively, right? It's hard because everybody's big. Internationally, everybody is bigger. And he struggled because he had to play more of a secondary or tertiary role offensively. But I also think that there's part of it is like guys are used to playing 35 a night and either playing 10 minutes or not playing at all. Like there will be 2 or 3 guys who don't play a minute. And there are some guys that cannot handle that.
Kobe's willingness to be the defensive stopper guy went like millions of miles for that team.
Yeah.
Because then how is anybody else on the team not going to be willing to sacrifice if he was that guy?
The curious part is going to be who they add. And I saw, I think it was Austin Rivers suggested that they add Cooper Flagg as the 12th guy. My only fear on the adding Cooper Flagg, I love the idea of adding Cooper Flagg. And they'll have like young guys who travel with them that practice with them. I don't know do you guys know that? They'll have like 4 or 5 dudes that are the Cooper Flaggs of the world, some of the top college players. They get to travel with them. The only fear of that one is, what if you need a guy? Like big guys, you're gonna kind of need because other team, like again, international basketball is not like American NBA basketball. They will throw the ball to the big guy. And if you can't play post defense, they're super physical. You're going to struggle with a traditional center, and then they can play traditional zone defensively. So, it does Joel Embiid play? Are we sure he plays? And if not, you got to replace him with somebody who can play. And then for the 12th man, are you going to replace him with somebody who can play or somebody who's just happy to be there? That's where like a Brook Lopez becomes like a perfect addition because he can play some, but if you don't play Brook, like he ain't going to say anything. But I like Kyrie's approach. I think Kyrie said everything he wanted to say without saying what he wanted to say. Right? He took the high road and said, I'm going to cheer for those guys. They're my brothers. I wish them well. And if I can support them, I'll be there for them. He also kind of got his little like, sure missed the days when we got to try out. I'm not bitter, but I just want an opportunity. Kyrie's a if you know him, super bright dude. At times too smart for his own good, but he's had bad moments with the press before. That was not one of them. And I actually agree with him. Like, we're not grandfathering Kyrie Irving. It's not like he's at the end of his career. He had an unbelievable year. We're really going to take Tyrese Halliburton and Drew Holiday over Jalen Brunson and Kyrie Irving sight unseen. Hard picks, hard decisions. Interesting the path we've gone.